raise my eyes to the wild blue yonder. I can't believe what I see, and it makes me wonder why it's falling down on me. The sky, the sky, the sky's falling. The sky, the sky, the sky's falling. The sky's falling.
Greetings, everyone. Tommy Hawksblood here. Sorry, I went to a show for an hour and a half and it suddenly disappeared. All right. Anybody listening, I'm glad you're here. If you are, thank you. If not, whenever you tune into this, please stick around as much as you can. I'm sure you're not going to be able to deal with all this information that I'm going to give you, but I will try to give you as much as I can in the time that I'm going to talk to you today, and I have a lot to get into. So without further ado, here I go. I just want to start with informing you what's happening to the planet, if you don't already know. China's being flooded right now. The earthquake chart is going crazy. China had 2 giant earthquakes, and a couple other places did as well. If you haven't been in touch with the earthquake chart, which you should do daily or once in a while at least, see how many are going off over 5 on a weekly basis and sometimes a daily basis now. It has changed over the past year to the maximum of disaster. All right. And now with the sun going through what it's going through, meaning super solar flares and novas and everything else, the radiation is going to be hitting us every day now, which you can see the weather in the United States. The weather in Hawaii is completely crazy. We had the coldest day in August today in history, which was 67 degrees when I woke up. So people, the weather's changing everywhere. I mean, Mr. Trump doesn't believe in it, and a couple other people don't, but I'm telling you, this is real, and it's what's really going on. Nobody talks about it, which I'll get into later. But outside of that, people, you got to check on what UN Agenda 21-30 is, all right? Okay, now FEMA is a government agency. MUFON is a UFO organization. Neither one of them gives us any important information. So with that being said, I'm going to go into all the lies you get. All right. Now, this is like the second time I'm going to go through this. I'm going to go through this as fast as I can because I don't feel like doing this for another hour and a half and starting everything I said all over. I'm going to try to get to it a little bit more faster than I did. But this is to all the people out there, the religious speakers, so-called spiritual speakers, so-called UFO speakers, and all the so-called scientists, top psychics, to all of you people that claim a lot of stuff, all right? But it has nothing to do with saving mankind. Not one thing they say or do. Going to a psychic healer, all those things. Oh, I'm going to heal you, take away your karma. We're going to get into that in detail. But people, I'm telling you, you're being lied to at every level. All the UFO people have no clue what they're talking about. And basically, all they do is attack our government. And our government's doing what they have to do. Do they have to tell you they're going to sneeze today or go to the bathroom? No, I sure hope not. And if you think they're going to tell us everything they're doing, Russia's on top of it, people. So is China. Russia and Germany are doing their own thing. Germany is not what people are saying. The UFO people coming out talking about Germany. No, they weren't more advanced than us. Never was. We took all the top scientists, the same as we did from Russia. Seriously. But on top of that, well, if Germany had this elite power and connections and all that stuff, they would have won the war, wouldn't they? But they didn't. All right. And the atom bomb isn't the most powerful anything anymore, whether you want to know that or not. It's nothing compared to what we have and what Russia has. And if they were working with aliens, which Putin said they were, it's so different right now. What makes people think that money is better than everything else? Well, sadly, it is to them. To most people, money's the only thing that's important. And to get it, they need to be famous, which is the second thing which everybody wants to be. All right? They want to be on TV, to become famous. All these things have nothing to do with spiritual growth, awareness, and what's really going on the planet. People want more money. Well, guess what? How much money do you think the government spends on a yearly basis? I'll tell you a little bit later. Stick around if you can. You want the truth? I'm going to give it to you straight out. All right. Now, before I start anything, I want to say this. You might not like it. I'm not a religious person. I don't consider myself a religious person. I don't consider Jesus a religious person. He was a soul, one of the most spiritual souls that ever came to this planet to teach certain things, which are not in the Bible, because the people in those days didn't understand a single word he was talking about, never mind a God. And that's why he had to say Father. That would be the only thing they could understand. Now, go back to the Egyptians, the Mayan, Aztecs. All their gods were aliens. The Hinduism, which was the first religion, were dealing with deities. Do you know what a deity is? It's not a god. But if you pull up in our dictionary what God is, it'll say super powerful being. That means anything with power, which is not God. I mean, God has the most power in all the universes, all the realms, all the worlds, but that's not what it is. All right. So Jesus said this, and this is for all the rich people. Anybody thinking that people have to listen to them because they have money. Musk, Gates, the president, people in Congress, all these people have money. They're old people. They don't even know what's going on. And we're supposed to listen to them, follow them, and do what they tell us to do. Are you serious, people? If anybody votes for Trump, where are they focusing on? What did he do? What did he say that made you really believe he's such a good person? He doesn't believe in global warming. He doesn't believe we should we should use coal again. Really, people? Make more jobs. Well, AI is going to take over no matter what anybody does. And we have UN Agenda 21-30 in full effect. All right. And the other thing which people are still learning about today and just starting to realize that it's real is UFOs and aliens. Sadly, they're only to the point of believing that UFOs are above us. They're not even talking about it. And if they do, well, we don't know what's flying it. Oh, little Chinese men, little Russian men, or big Russian men, big Germans. They pretend they don't even know what's flying the jets and the planes and the rockets, whatever you want to call it. They're shooting around our planet. All right. Now, our drones are not capable of doing anything a UFO does. Not at all. And they could say, well, it's probably a drone. No, our drones aren't the super high-tech technology of the future. Even though Hawaii just brought a giant drone in, I mean a big-sized drone, and they're testing dropping bombs with it. That's on the news. I mean, they publicize what they do here in Hawaii. They don't say, well, when they're going to drop the bombs or anything like that. If you go to the library, they have to have a book right there that tells you everything the government's doing here. They don't explain it in detail. They give words that you might not understand, but they have to tell you. All right. When the HARP system came into Hawaii, they put all these boxes around the ocean where the beaches are. It's a sound signal for the HARP system. It keeps the dolphins away from the shoreline. I'm not going to get into it. I did the last show that I did about dolphins. They're smart as we are. Their brains like we are, but they use different parts of it. And the United States government was killing 10,000 a year, trying to train them to kill humans. Really. I'm not making that up. All right. Now, these other countries slaughter them by 10,000 in a week or two just to feed their country or sell their parts. They sell their teeth in other countries. And like the whaling boats killing 10,000 whales in a year's time, they kill way more than that. But the United States says 10,000 is all you're allowed to kill. Like the tuna boats, you're only allowed to kill 10,000 dolphins. Nobody counts these numbers. When Truman, and I'm going to tell you this now, you don't have to believe it, Truman told aliens you can abduct 10,000 people. But they can't remember what happened to them. Sadly, over the past 25 years, 30 years, people are starting to realize something happened. And through certain good techniques, through certain hypnotists, they can find out what really happened. All right? And it's called missing time. Most people I work with had missing time and had no clue what happened. I was in court with the New Jersey Bell, and the judge said, stay after everybody leaves. And then he told me he was out in the car with his wife, and this light came over him, it stopped, and they woke up 2 hours later. So, people don't want to talk about it. I can go on and on about that. Why they don't come out. Because people laugh at them. I did all my life. I started understanding aliens and UFOs when I was 6 years old, people. From then on, I was always into it because I had to be. Ships are always around me, coming, aliens, and you name it. But I was always laughed at. When I got older, people just said, well, even my family just, well, don't mind him. He's just a little crazy. Well, I say I'm crazy going sane. I'd rather be crazy going sane than sane going crazy. All right. And what I want to start with, Jesus was the most spiritual person, not a God, to walk this planet. He never said he was God. Sorry, Bible. Sorry, people. You believe lies that man wrote. If Jesus was here today, you would understand why he came here. But he's not. And he will not come back. There is no reason for him to. We got better words, better technology, but we are not spiritual. Nobody is. Or they wouldn't be here in hell. So, Jesus said this, and he quoted it 3 times in the Bible, and he said it many other times. He said, it's easier for a camel to go through an eye of a needle than a rich person to get into heaven. Why would he say that? Because it's the truth. I spent years of my life, most of it, outside the UFO world on a spiritual quest, trying to find the truth, trying to find out more about God. And I did. I found everything I need to know in this lifetime and all my lifetimes together. What happens when I die? What happens when you die? Where do you go? What happens then? All that. I learned that. It's not easy. It takes time. But you went through many lifetimes and you forgot every single thing you learned in all your lifetimes. Oh, you might remember, I can ride a horse, or I can shoot a gun, or I can do this, but you don't remember the people you married in other lifetimes, the families you had, the amount of people you killed. All that kinds of gets squished out of your mind. Soul doesn't bring it into this mind, and the mind doesn't allow it. People, technology that the government has is way beyond what you could imagine. They have technology to actually film your dreams. It's a vibration. It's a vibration that they can film and record. So the technology that they have, they just came out with laser keyboards and things like that. All right? But we had that a long time ago. When the movies show things, they're not far off of what they're showing. All right. Let me just move a little bit further as we cruise along here. Okay. Now, people that listen to people, the first person mainstream in the UFO world was Billy Myers. He came out with videos and videos of UFOs, and then he came out with a picture of an alien and this, that, and the other thing. Sadly, only parts of what he brought out were real. He made a fake spaceship that looked exactly what he was saying he was going on and being with. People came out there and they saw that. He brought Shirley MacLaine out there. She wanted to be his advisor and everything else, and that didn't happen. We brought him to California for a couple weeks, and he decided he didn't want to stay here either. But even his wife turned against him, and Michael Horn, who I had on my show, was a big liar as well as Billy Myers, with his fake stories and everything else. He did come out with 100 prophecies, but I went into this detail, which I'm not going to do today. Now, that prophecies are useless if they do not change the event. Nostradamus, useless. Now, people that listen to soul, spirit, angels, whatever, and they get a prophecy, if they listen to it, like what happened in Sodom and Gomorrah, what happened with Noah and the ark, he listened, changed reality. Sodom and Gomorrah, he listened, changed reality. Two friends of mine prophesied 9/11. Neither one of them was in front of it when it went down. I wonder why. If you have a prophecy and don't believe in it, don't tell people about it. If you're going to tell people about it, stand by what you said. Don't run from it. That's crazy. All right. I'm going to go into psychics, healers, all those words as well. Now, let me just finish up. Billy Myers, to show you what he did wrong, he showed a picture of an alien and gave him a name. Sadly, it was a picture taken off of the Mickey Mouse Club. Seriously. So, if you're going to tell the truth, you have to tell the truth. If you're going to make a story up, you can change it, add things, anything you want to do to it. But it's still a story. The truth never changes, people. If you have an experience, it's not going to change. It will always be that experience. I had many, many, many. Not one of them's changing in any way. And I'll tell it exactly the way it happened because I know how it happened and I know what happened. I was never abducted on a ship. I can't be. I'm not going to go into that. But I stopped my brother from being abducted when I was 6 years old. I chased my first alien with my friend at 11. So ships are real, aliens are real, Bigfoot's real, all those things, ghosts, spirits are all real. I was doing ghost busting at 16. I was a high priest when I was 16. I was going against the mob's high priest and things like that when I was younger. I pulled out of that. I work with there's 32 psychic abilities that a spiritual person should have. So I was trying to go through them. I went through a lot of them and proved that they are all real, except the two that I really wanted. Number one is levitation. I couldn't do it. I tried every technique and every this, that, and the other thing, but I couldn't do it. Nobody really can. But you have somebody like Caroline Corey claims she could levitate a piece of paper. If you can levitate a piece of paper, you can levitate a car. You can levitate a car, you can levitate a house, you can levitate everything. But it's not real. She's talking story. She goes, she can change DNA. Well, DNA is something totally different. Science has no clue about DNA. They only have 12 strands. There's a basic of 32, and there's many more after that. But DNA is an energy. So changing your vibration changes DNA. Not that that means much. Doesn't make you a better person. Not at all. All right. When people talk, all these people that I mentioned talk about things, they have no awareness of truth, meaning God, spirit, death, and all those kind of things. Why are they here? They don't even know why they are here, which is sad. Because without that, what are you doing? Having sex, drinking, drugs, partying, having relationships, having children, and all that. But why? Well, man likes to keep his name going. That's why he always wanted to have a boy. All right. Children are the most horrible situations right now because they're the most abducted and abused, especially by aliens, people. I'm not trying to talk about what I'm trying to do for you people. I'm just trying to give you the truth. You have to find it. All right. It's out there. It's not that hard to find some of it. Some of it you'll never find because the government won't release a lot of things. But make the right connections. Know the right people. Sadly, the same. Most of the people I know are dead, taken out. I have 16 friends that disappeared. It's not about people's stories. It's not about a whistleblower. Why is it 25, 50 years later? Oh, guess what happened 50 years ago? Who cares? Area 51 is what it is. It was a base. Aliens landed there every other week. Sean David Martin used to take planes, a busload or a van of people out there to watch the mothership come in. Then they realized they caught him there, and then they bought all that land. All right. Sadly, they've been after him all his life. They put him in jail for a couple of years with 150 false charges. Tried killing him every which way. He got out. He's dying. All right. But he wrote incredible books which you need to read if you want the truth about what really was going on. Sands of Time, people. Sands of Time. He's got many books out. But start with that. It's the beginning and the understanding of what the Russia and Germany and the United States were doing and how it went down. All right. And how the wars went down as well. All right. But nobody's talking about demons and entities and things like that. But they talk about aliens. But they use the word interdimensional beings. What does that mean to you? Honey, what if you hear that word, what's it mean? Spiritual beings? No. Being able to go to a dimension between the astral plane and this plane doesn't make you spiritual. Let me just check one thing, people. I'm sorry that I went through this the last time and my show wasn't even going. But it's going now, and I'm going to try to do the best I can. What's happening here? Hold on, let me get this fixed up. What's going on? Everything's moving on my screen. I don't know why. All right. Demons are real. Ghosts are real. I was doing ghost busting when I was 16. I was working with one of the top psychics at that time who was a real psychic. She was rated by the New York Psychic Center. You don't get a degree in psychic abilities. You don't get a degree in ufology and all those other words. Oh, I'm the top ufologist. On what? On what people say? Can I become a super high being or high anything because a lot of other people said something? No, you can't. I'm a rebel. I'm probably the most hardcore rebel in the UFO world today. And I got reasons. I don't know if you know the name Sarge L18. I worked with him for 6 years. We released publicly UFO pictures for 6 years. More pictures than anybody else in the United States. And they weren't releasing pictures of UFOs at that time frame. We did a show called Strange Universe. We showed a video on there and different things. And nobody said a word. Well, at the end of 6 years, which happened a long time, years ago, then I made friends with them again. We had a fight. We did Kerry Cassidy's show for 9 months. We showed 5 pictures of UFOs every week. We had 100, anywhere from 50 to 100 people in our chat room every night that we did a show. 1,200 people would hit us up the next morning. Kerry Cassidy doesn't even have a following like that. And she never even watched one of our videos. And I kept saying, watch one of our videos. Watch what we're showing. Because she deals with whistleblowers. And they all have a story. And why are they all different? Truth doesn't change. If an alien walked into the White House, all the people would know that. All right? When Val and Thor supposedly went into the White House, everybody in the White House would have known that. People, you listen to other people, you get stories. The Anunnaki story is a fake story created by Zecharia Sitchin. Man writes books and stories and has always written. But how much of it is the truth? Hieroglyphics, because they were painted or carved, doesn't make them real. Seriously. The Egyptians were great at lying about everything they put on the walls. They knew nothing. They were not spiritual, not aware beings at all. They followed aliens. Aliens that fed them all kinds of false information. Sorry to say, the tribes all do the same. The native people followed the Greys. They call them the star beings. They say they followed Bigfoot. I had a friend that was one of the top speakers on Bigfoot. Said he worked with them 40 years. They're not helping us, people. Look at the world today. Nothing good's happening. Whether you want to believe that or not, tell me all the good things happening. All right. But here's the thing, people. There's worlds from here to God. The astral plane is where everybody that dies, that leaves this planet, goes to. If they leave this planet. If they don't get to leave this planet, they stay a lost soul. Meaning when a psychic talks to a soul and they're still talking to him, guess what? They didn't attain such a high level. They didn't go past the astral plane. The astral plane is not the most spiritual place. It's very unspiritual because everybody that dies has to go there. How long they stay there depends on what they became aware of, which is usually nothing, meaning they have to reincarnate between 5 and 10 years. When you stay there, time's different. So I could tell you how long I stayed there a lot of time, but it wasn't equal to the time here. I spent from the time I was 25 to 45 in a religion, in a spiritual path, teaching me and giving me techniques that I work with, learning how to leave my body, traveling, meeting with the deities. There's deities on all the realms. I call them little gods because you have to go past them to get into the next one. Lucifer is not bad, people, no matter what anybody says. He's a fallen angel, just like Michael, Gabriel, and all the other. There's 9 angels mentioned in the Bible. All right. They are helpers. They help you go through things, help you get somewhere. They're not teachers per se. They don't sit down and have a class of people and teach them anything. That's not their mission, not their goal. Now, everybody, every single person has 2, at least, guides. I call them spiritual guides. Call them whatever you want. Some are angels, whatever words you like. But if you don't learn to communicate with them, they are totally useless to you. When they give you a warning, you don't listen. When they try to convince you or show you something, you don't listen. So they're not useful to you. And in a period of time, they stop trying to help you. And that goes for every soul on this planet. You want to become a mass murderer? Guess what? You think they're going to sit there and help you? Of course not. Without their help, you're going to get nowhere in the spiritual realms. It's like being dropped off in the middle of a jungle in another country. What are you going to do? How are you going to live? How are you going to survive? What do you do next? You don't know. Being in the astral plane, there's so much to do, so many things that are different. You pick an age. You pick what you want to do. If I want to eat, you don't have to eat. Your body's not going to deteriorate. What are you going to wear? How old do you want to be? All those things you decide when you get to stay there. And then you think it's bliss. And you'll stay there for a long period of time. Not realizing there's many places beyond that are 1,000 times better to go to. Seriously, they just get better. All right? But what you want to hold on to gets taken away. And most people hold on to their body and sex and all those kind of words. They disappear when you leave the astral plane. You don't have sex in the higher realms of God. It's not needed. And the Hindu religion, everything's sexual. Why is that? Because people get insight, but they don't know how to translate it. And nobody around them can help them translate it. But Muhammad, his brother told him he was working with Gabriel. He didn't know who he was working with. I say, prove who you work with. Any being, any entity can say they are whoever you want them to be. And they know that. Well, I'm going to be Gabriel. Oh, I'm Gabriel. Oh, I'm God. Oh, I'm God. Whatever you want to see. Oh, I'm your mother. Oh, I'm your grandfather. Whatever. They can take on any form. But it's not real. And what you get is limited to what you know. All right, well, he said something that I didn't know. Well, guess what? You knew it at some level you did. Or your family knew it. And they're reading for you, coming from your own awareness. Well, I put something in my drawer. Nobody knows that except me. Oh, well, guess what? I just read your mind, and I know you got that in your drawer. But people, you want to believe this stuff that I call garbage, useless, and it will not help you move forward at a spiritual level or an aware state, which is important, especially if you ever want to get away and out of hell. All right. Now, when a soul gets stuck here, they become a ghost, and then they linger around the family. They got nowhere else to go. But they don't become angels. Nobody that dies here becomes an angel. I'm not going to go into this slight exception to every rule. There are always an exception to every rule, but that's not the exception for most people. All right? Anyone claiming that they have an awareness or truth about aliens, Jesus, love, and prayer are lying to you. Am I lying to you? No. Why? Because I give everything back to God. I'm under God. Anything I do wrong goes right back to God, and I get accountable for that. So I'm not going to lie to you people any way, any reason, or anyhow, because I will be not where I want to be anymore. I'm not coming back to this realm. I'm not going to go to the lower realms either. If I kill somebody right now, I will lose everything I attained. People that kill don't realize that. People, if you're a Christian, which there's 2.5 billion Christians on this planet, if they read the Bible, God sent Jesus to do this, and Jesus protects me, and blah, 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 I can forgive my sins. Read Revelations. John wrote it. Jesus' disciple. And he says in that, which they all should read, what can't be forgiven? What cannot be forgiven? You can't go to a priest and say, forgive me for this, forgive me for that. Sure, killing's one of them. But read the rest. I'm not going to tell you them all. Read it. Find out what's written in your own holy book. I would say maybe 1% of all Christians know what's in that Bible, in Revelations, what John said. They don't want to know it. They want to believe that everything's forgiven and everything's okay and they're going to go to heaven. That's all they want to know. They don't want to know what they do when they get to heaven, what they really look like in heaven, what they're going to wear in heaven, and all those kind of things. You don't go to John's bargain store in heaven, their so-called heaven. All right. Now, love. Nobody, or very few souls on this planet have an idea what love means. You could say you love your wife, your children. How long? What happens when you fight? What happens when you split up? What happens when something goes down? You don't love them no more? Because it wasn't love. It was attachment. It was whatever words. But it was not love. Love doesn't change either. That's like one of the things that stays constant, if it's true. But basically, to have that, you would have to experience God at some level, or you never know what it means. Oh, my whole body's shaking and feeling good and great. No, that's not love. Kama Sutra sex and all those words that they do have nothing to do with real love, nothing to do with God. God doesn't need sexual energy. After the third plane, you're no longer a male or female. Are you going to be happy about that? Now, I don't want to go too far from aliens either, but there's a lot more I just want to get into before I do that. Everybody in the UFO world, spiritual world, are using the word ascension. Nobody on this planet has gone through it right now. Nobody I ever met, talks about it, or says it, has gone through it. I can tell you a lot about it. I almost made it through, but I'm still here. When you go through ascension, there's no reason to come back, even though you get everything you could possibly think you wanted here. 32 psychic abilities which Jesus had. All of them. Not one person today can use any one of them at even 50% level. Well, they might have it 5%, 2%. Not one person could see the future 1 minute in advance, 100%, perfectly. If they could change reality. And that can't happen in our reality right now because we're too far into the negative energy. The karma on this planet's so bad, it's not going to rise to a higher level. Oh, these spiritual people saying we're going to higher levels. And that think aliens, the interdimensional aliens, are spiritual. They are not. Technology has nothing to do with spiritualism either. Nothing. Weapons have anything to do with spiritualism? Tesla worked with an alien race. He came out with 200 inventions, gave 50 of them to the United States government. 50 deadly, horrible weapons. Whether you want to believe that or not, that's your choice. But the HARP system was created. The Philadelphia experiment was created. Time travel was created. I'm not going to get into time travel too much because it is the most serious problem that we have. But realize this. We were given that when Tesla was alive. Aliens gave it to him. So guess what? They used it for a long time. Now, the word out of place artifact, I don't even know how to say what they call it, but it's an object that's in the wrong time frame. How's it possible? Because an alien came there and put it there. That's all. It's very simple. It's not complicated. Or they found this device here in that time frame and that. So what? Does that mean they were more spiritual, more aware? No, it doesn't. All the races that were here were taken away. Why? Because aliens play games. They don't teach the truth. They don't know the truth. They're not spiritual. They don't have feelings and emotions like we do even. When they talk about gods of the Egyptians and the Mayans and the Aztecs, they were aliens. The Egyptians were taught all kinds of ways to save the body when they die to come back to it. None of it was real. None of it. All the hieroglyphics in their caves showing death and reincarnation and all that were all lies because none of it was real. What they did to their body just showed you how stupid they were. Then again, if a good alien race was helping them, which there's good aliens out there, they wouldn't be gone, would they? The pyramids are useless to us people. All the energy wasted on them. How did they build them? Well, there were giants here too. Do you want to talk about that? No. Why would you build a broom 30 feet high? Because I got a big ego. Outside of that, no, you wouldn't. People who want to follow these lies of these speakers in the UFO world, I mean, I try to be friends with all of them. Not one of them will talk to me. I pay $9 for one site. I pay $12 for another site. And they won't even talk to me. I said, look, I can give you information that could help you a great lot, especially the Skinwalker Ranch. Mr. Dolan, everything he says is what he thinks. Who cares what anybody thinks? Everybody thinks. How many people come out with something important? Now, inventions aren't really important to your awareness. And Jacques Cousteau, right before he died, he did a special on pollution around the planet. Then, and he says the future will be this. And he showed a little satellite with a head in it. He said mankind's not going to want to do anything. They're just going to have everything do everything, which he's dead right. I mean, a store, imagine you had a store and you could have 200 robots in there instead of 300 men. They would save money, have them work 24 hours, 7 days a week. Why would they need people in there then? People don't look at what's happening right in front of their face. Your car drives you everywhere you want to go. Okay. What happens when everything else that's supposed to get delivered and brought to you and all that is by machines or AI? What do they need you for? To buy the food? People, if you don't become aware soon, there'll be nothing to become aware of. So I do a couple spiritual classes every once in a while. But people don't like the truth. They rather believe a lie. Oh, there's bad aliens. The government's working with these aliens and they're doing this, that. They won't even admit that there's real ships everywhere. I'll tell you this. There's about 20 or 30 over you directly every day, every hour. Well, maybe sometimes 10, 15, but it could go up to 30. What do you think? They're all stopping here to say hi, to look at us, to talk to us? No, somebody gave me a big debate. Well, they can't travel at the speed of light. Well, you can't. Your brain can't, but they can. Well, you can't prove that. I'll prove that it's not true. I can prove that they go across the sky in one split second. And they got cameras, which we had. Sajel and I had a camera that shot 300 frames a second, which was fast in 96. All right. But when you wanted to watch that in slow motion, how long it takes to watch an hour? And you can't see what's going on in this one frame or 2 frames if you don't watch it in slow motion. I just found out Skinwalker Ranch, they have a real outrageous camera that shoots thousands of frames a second. But now, But you won't believe, I just found out yesterday, we have a camera that shoots, and I'm not making this up. It's a Tricon, T something weird name, but it shoots 3 trillion frames a second. How is that even possible to our brain? Now, how do you watch that in slow motion? Spend the rest of your life watching 1 hour? People, the technology is so advanced to our limited consciousness. I mean, we could move forward if we wanted to. The world could work as one, which is a ridiculous idea. But if they did, we could attain what we could achieve. No starving people, no homeless people. Be able to work with the weather instead of fight it and create a bad thing from it. Create healthy foods and things, but we don't and we're not. People, you want to believe aliens are going to come help us? What do you think they can do for us, really? Mr. Stephen Greer is working really hard to help people learn how to talk to aliens. Why? What would you ask an alien? I mean, if you face God, what would you ask God? Never mind, what would you ask an alien? What do you think they could help you with? Get a new wife? Get a new job? What would they tell you? Come on our ship? And what do you think if they brought you on their ship? What do you think they do with people when they bring them on their ship, people? And that stupid, ignorant word called experiences is a big lie. There's no such thing. You don't get on a ship and become a great guest and take a tour of the universe and have a good time with aliens. It's a program they feed people. I'm not going to go into detail. Truman said they can't remember, but now that they can, aliens have to change their programming in a person. Make it good and then they'll like it. So let's not tell them we took their body apart and then we put it back together. Let's make up a story for them to believe. I do a show with Tina Bird every Tuesday at 12 noon California time. Watch it. One of the few people I truly believe and trust every which way, been abducted most of her life, and what she's gone through is horrible. She's also radioactive, and the hospitals, doctors won't help her. I mean, they're helping her fight all these things they're claiming, but they lie to her, and you need to read her book. It just came out last week. After 2 years of trying to get it published, all these companies kept refusing it. She got it printed. It's short, and it's a big book, and it's easy to read. So Tina Bird, go online, buy her book. I'm telling you, it's an incredible truth about what abduction really is, not what it isn't. All right, people? All right. Do you want to bring the truth out? Do you have it? Nobody does. Most anybody that's out there is lying to you. What they think has nothing to do with the truth. How many people know what the first spiritual law on this planet is? Do you? If you don't, you should. Because if you go against that law, you'll never get out of your karma and you'll keep creating it. I'm not talking about the 10 Commandments, like thou shalt not kill. There's a law that resides in this whole universe. Aliens abuse it completely. You can't abuse the spiritual law and expect to be spiritual. Nobody can. All right? But the second thing that people deal with is called ego, which is the hardest thing for man to overcome. Because ego makes you think you're better, even though you don't go around saying, I'm better, you think you are. Color has nothing to do with anything, people. And that's one of the biggest fallacies in the United States, that black people had it harder. The native people had it the hardest, people. Do you understand that? And nobody talks about that. The government will not. There's still a war going on with tribal people and the native people. I'm talking about people on reservations. But I'm not going to go into that either. I did a lot in the show I did this morning, but I was so sad to see that it wasn't on the air. I'm just checking to make sure it's still live, which it is. All right, people. If you have a question, put it in the chat room pertaining to what we're talking about. But here's the thing, people. So many people out there believe these people speaking in the UFO world. Ancient aliens is the biggest crock of bull ever. You think any one of those people know what they're talking about? Well, I think. We all think, but what happens? Nothing. Think how to change the world, make it better. Nobody can do that. Oh, invite the aliens down. They'll help us. No, they won't. Pyramids and all those kind of things. It's not helping us. And it won't. Well, this was this, and this sent signals out. And yeah, well, we got a horrible system in the United States producing beams and everything, energy beams and stuff like that. And they're trying it out. They've been trying it out for a couple of years. And it's dangerous. Directed energy weapons. Pull it up online. All right, people. Look, those things are dangerous and destructive to the planet. So is geothermal. So is fracking. So are chemtrails, people. They're destroying the planet as we know it, creating an alternate reality. All right. I don't know how much you know about underground cities, which are all across and under the United States. I went into Jesse Ventura. If you can pull up any of his stuff, most of it was taken down at every level, but he was exposing everything for 2.5 years until they took him off. He was as real as it gets as far as people out there telling whistleblowing. He made sure that he could prove what anybody said. Oh, ghost? Well, prove it. Let's go out there and prove it. Oh, the HARP system? Let's go out there and prove it. Oh, FEMA camps? Let's go out and prove it. Oh, underground cities? Let's prove it. New World Order base? Let's prove it. He proved all those things, people. Maybe you didn't watch him. Well, he was a boxer. A wrestler, and he was this and that. Well, that's your choice. He was one of the few people that brought so much truth out in 2.5 years. And he proved it. He showed it. Oh, it wasn't trick photography. It was none of those words. He drove in the underground city. He drove up to the New World Order base, which is in the Ozarks. Check it out. It's right over the entrance to one of the bases underground. People, do you listen? Do you look for the facts, or you just believe the stories and the lies? I'm going to make the world better. How? Nobody has the right to interfere with women and what they do with their bodies. Nobody. They do, but nobody else should have, especially a man. And that's all man has ever done all through history. Why? Give you a quick story. Atlantis was the first civilization on planet Earth. There were 9 races here. 9 races. 5 of them became aware, spiritual, and left. 4 races stayed, black, yellow, red, and white. And then guess what came? Aliens. Not angels, not anything else. Aliens came and programmed for horrible words like killing, eating animals, and all those things. The gladiator days lasted forever. We still have boxing, wrestling. Other countries, they have Thai boxing, which is fighting until somebody dies or just passes out unconscious. We didn't get over the idea of abuse. We all want it and see it. Half of the shows have to show it. And the other words that are really upsetting and sad is rape, child abuse, child sales. And it's going on inside the United States, people. Even here in Hawaii. We just saved 11 children from being sold. That's how bad it is. They have meetings here about it. Do you believe it's real? Oh, no, well, that's not real. If you hear it, it's probably real. And it's probably being committed or done somewhere on the planet. Just says everything on this planet that moves is eaten somewhere on the planet. And now, because of people like Musk and Gates and all that, guess what you're going to be eating in a couple of years? Crickets for burgers. Guess what you're going to be drinking? And pull this up online. I'm not making it up. Roach milk. How many roaches does it take to make a glass of milk? I have no clue. But find out about it. Check it out. All these things. He's buying all the farms in the United States. Making sure that they don't have places to put cattle anymore. Trying to eliminate farming and cows. And it's not cow farts that destroyed the ozone layer either. The lies you're told are ridiculous. When they want to stop something or make it sound real, they put out a ridiculous lie. And people will believe that. Name one person on this planet that actually knows what happened at 9/11. Trump. Mr. Putin asked Mr. Trump to tell the truth about 9/11. He says, if you don't, I will. He never did yet. Trump didn't yet. I mean, Putin didn't. But he said to Trump, I want you to tell the world what you're doing with aliens. I didn't either. But, okay, what they're doing, they don't. They just squeeze them and it turns into a liquid that you're going to be drinking. But basically, when Putin was telling his thing about what's happening to Trump, he said they're working with 27 alien races. 2 of them want to destroy the planet. How would he know that, people? People, if you listen, how come when Mr. Trump meets Putin for the first time in a room and they talk for a couple hours, the next day Mr. Trump comes out and creates the space army, which he didn't, but he called it and said he created it. And Mr. Biden just said 2 days ago he's changing what Trump said. Trump wanted to move the space station, whatever it is, somewhere else. And he said, nope, it's staying right where it is. All right. But again, Trump didn't say anything. Trump says he doesn't believe in aliens. Trump doesn't believe in global warming. He doesn't believe in a lot of things. But people, we're in trouble every which way. All right. The truth is out there if you want to find it. I never told you what the most spiritual thing and the spiritual law that exists on this planet. And I need to tell you it because in your subconscious, soul needs to hear it. It's called the law of non-interference. It's a spiritual law. No race, no being has the right to interfere in somebody else's space unless they're invited into it. It's the same with ghosts. If they're not invited, they can't come into your house. Just so you know, all these things happen because somebody does something stupid like, well, so what? I play with a Ouija board, but I was always protected when I touched it. But a lot of the psychics, that's the most evil thing on the planet. Well, if you play with a board that talks to spirits and you don't know how to protect yourself, you're in trouble. Now, these ghost shows on TV, half of them are ridiculous because they get touched by a ghost and they go running. I said, you don't go ghost busting if you're afraid of them. I was doing it when I was 16. I worked in the New York Psychics, not the New York City in the, it's called the Jumo Mansion. George Washington set up his headquarters there, built this mansion. It was the first real mansion in the United States. It was basically, he had his headquarters there because he could see the East and West River when anybody came in, which where all the wars were fought, and all the people died. I spent 2 years going there with a psychic friend of mine who was truly, well, we use the word medium, could channel any spirit that was in the Yesterworld. So we got to do a lot of things there. I crossed so many spirits over, including Aaron Burr. He killed Hamilton. He wasn't put in jail or anything like that, but he was living in his house for years with Madame Jumel. All right, I worked there. I know the facts about the whole story, why he killed Hamilton. And there was a real reason. But again, people, do you want to believe what people write when they don't know what they're writing about or talking about? I don't talk about anything that I haven't experienced and know is true. Well, a Ouija board is as evil or as positive as you make it. Anything is. You could take Kreskin, who I learned hypnosis from when I was 12 years old, came out with a pendulum. And he had a board with the letters going around the alphabet, and you hold the pendulum up and it swings and it spells out words. He created that. A pendulum became a really important device for a lot of psychics. But it's their tool, their useful tool that they use. People, we play games on ourselves and on the world. Nobody wants to deal with the truth, which I try to get out, trying to give you right now. Basically, everything that's happening goes against the poor and middle class people. All weapons are being created, are dangerous to the planet and changing to every person on it. And aliens have been trading the government weapons for people. You don't have to believe that, but it's true. And I'm telling you it is. But you can prove it to yourself somehow. meet the right people, go to the right places, find out what was going on. But seriously, where do you think the government makes all their money? Drugs, sex trade, child sales. Drugs was the number one, but now there's so much money for a human body, or even a child's body. And it gets sicker and sicker if you go into that, but I'm not going to. But what's the government doing? Where's the money come from? Do you know how much money the government spends in 1 year? Oh, we're so poor, so poverty stricken, and all that. We owe China how much money? Well, just so you know, people, and this is a fact if you want to pull it out, dig it out, and search for it, the government spends $720 billion a year. And it's called war, weapons, defense, UFOs, spaceships. They're going to release a spaceship by the end of the year, next year, in between now and then. It's incredible. It looks really cool. But it'll have every weapon known to man. The government, I mean, not to every man, because most men don't know nothing. All right? It'll keep the United States number one. We have the biggest submarine, we have the biggest ship, and we have the biggest plane. All with the most horrible weapons on it. So, we play these little games of war. I mean, recently when we actually used drones to end the war real short, other countries are playing that game now too. But if anything happens, which is happening to the sun, it could wipe out all our satellites, and then everything won't work. And then where do you think we'll be? Well, you better keep an eye on the weather, better keep an eye on the sun, and you better check out all the fires burning. The fires are equal to the 5 other things that are destroying the planet and the weather. There's a fire between United States and Canada. It's one of the worst fires ever. There's another fire in California again. Now, years ago, they hit it with a directed energy beam to increase the temperature of it. Why would they do that? Because they're getting ready for warfare. Always have. That's all they do. Man's always thinking about war, taking out the other guy. Germany's doing the same. Russia's doing the same. Chinese are in a little bit different position. They think more people will win the war, creating islands and islands and putting thousands of people on these islands. We had technology in Vietnam that could take out a whole city without hurting them for 24 hours. Why kill everybody? Well, that's not the goal. Why do you think they put 17-year-olds in the army? Because they're smart and intelligent? No. You better think about why things are the way they are and why people don't go against it. People that ran up to Canada had a brain. They didn't commit killing because the government told them to. Spiritual people, I'm going to say their names in a second, claiming that it's right and it's okay to kill people in other countries and all the bull. But like I said, check out Tina Bird, her book. It's really a good book if you want to learn about abduction. But she's been abducted, and she talks about it and what's happening to her, what's happening to her body. She's radioactive, and we prove it every week. All right, she'll probably be the #1 speaker in the UFO world soon, if she doesn't die. Seriously. All right, let me get to a better place. I'm not going to go into the abducted people, women, children, all that, because it's horrible. It's all for trade. It's all for warfare. But you want to know that why the government was killing dolphins? They killed 10,000 a year to try to teach them to kill people because they wouldn't use them to go out and fight the armies in the ocean, in the Navy and things like that. Put a bomb on them. They do that, but the dolphin doesn't know what he's doing. But a dolphin's much smarter than a monkey has ever was. Because a dolphin has a brain like we do. They can speak 150 words whether you know that or not. They got sonar and radar. If you tell them what's inside the box, they can tell you what's inside the box. And they do. But the government doesn't want people to know how smart, intelligent, and everything else they are. The man in Hawaii did birthing out in the ocean. Last thing I'll talk about it. He would bring a pregnant woman out with a couple people, and the dolphins would surround them. I had him on my show twice, but it was outlawed in Hawaii. The government controls Hawaii pretty much, so Hawaii is the first center of defense, if you don't know that either. But He would do prayers the night before. They'd go out into the water, and these dolphins would come and surround him. They would all send out a signal and hit the child with it. What it did to the child was make him smarter. Seriously. It would also help them connect to dolphins and communicate. All right, that's all on that. But it's real. Things that you never even heard of or that are really important are trying to be squished at every level. All right. What do I want to tell you real fast? I don't want to go back into Putin. I don't want to go into the Egyptians' minds. They're all useless lifetimes of people that died and suffered, killing each other. But let's go to. Just want to say this until I say all these names. I am open for a debate with any one of these so-called people, live or offline. And if any one of them has a pair of balls, or a pair of balls in their pocket, whatever you want to call it, however you want to say it, I'm willing to debate them on their so-called truth, because it's a lie. Let them try to prove it. They can tell you anything they want, and you'll believe it, but they can't tell me lies. I know God. I know death. I know reincarnation. I know why we're here. I know what goes on in all these realms. And that's important, people, because you're going to die. No matter what pills you take, no matter what you think you're going to do, you're going to die in 125 years. Well, I don't want to do that. You want to live to 150 or 100, 200? You'll see all your family die. You'll see because the pills that they're selling are a fortune. The pills that my partner had, $70,000. They're $1,000 a pill. Is that right? Should that be legal? I don't think so. There's 200 religions on this planet. 2,000, sorry. Only 2 that I know can tell you anything important to give you a little bit closer to how to find truth and understand God. Seriously. All of them are convinced and programmed and telling you that Jesus was God. And Moses was important and all these words. Moses killed 10,000. Well, when he came off the mountain, he killed 3,000 people. Had them all killed, said they were demons. When he made these people walk around in circles and circles until they died, which they all died. Their children were brought to the promised land. He wasn't allowed in it. We don't even know why, but I do. But again, these people got to the promised land and there were people there. So guess what? They had to kill all the people that were there. And you call that religion? You call that spiritual truth? People, you follow lies on top of lies and don't even know half of the truth behind what you believe in. All right, let me get to this part. My email is hawksblood1@aol.com. All right. Everybody you know, anybody you know, send them a link. They won't reply. I joined the Skinwalker Ranch. I joined Richard Dolan's site. I write them letters. They won't reply because they're stuck in a place where they can't. Probably like Lou Elizondo. He said he worked for the government and walked away, but he can't say this. Why can't he say it if he's not working for the government again? Or still, there's so many lies by every speaker out there, and you believe it. All right, I'm going to get to the point. Let me skip all the things I wanted to talk about because I'm not going to spend all that time that I did this morning. I'm going to say names. If you're watching this, you're not going to remember half of the names or any of them, maybe. But we'll start with Nasser Harriman. You can pull him up online. He claimed he created the string theory, which he did not. Claims he has the Ark of the Covenant, which he does not. He claims he brings his people onto the Galactic Federation ship. Who cares? All right, I met with him. I was in his workshop for a day and charges $500 for a 3-day workshop and all that kind of baloney. And what he says is all twisted lies. All right. Drumvalo Melchizedek. He's kind of more on the spiritual side, except he said he's working with the aliens inside the earth and he's going to bring them out to the world and introduce them to us. Years ago. Never happened. David Wilcock, I'm sure you know all his stories and what he says and that The first time he was on TV, he said he was God. All right. Danny Brinkley. I had lunch with him. Somebody paid for me to have lunch with him and 12 other people, $125. I'm talking in 96, 97, one of those years. I confronted him face to face, and he stood up and said what I would never thought he would say publicly. He claimed he was hit by lightning 3 times. All right. But he was abducted when he was young. And he killed 44 people for the government. So his karma, he says, I'm a Luciferian. I'll be paying it back for reincarnation after reincarnation. But I will pay it back. He does more for hospice people than anybody else right now. He's working to pay his karma back. But he admits who and what he was and is, which very few souls I know in any realm, especially the spiritual realm, will admit that. Caroline Corey, she put out 3 movies, claims a lot of things. She can levitate a piece of paper. She can change people's DNA. Well, I worked with a medicine woman for 26 years. She worked with scientists then, proving she can change DNA by doing a prayer that we do over our food to make it pure and healthy and safe. She's no longer alive. Like I said, I was with her 26 years, and I learned a lot. All right, of certain things, of the physical reality and things which slowly become useless in the next higher realm. Tom DeLonge, I hope you know who Tom DeLonge is. Pull up his who and what he says, and it's stories. He works with some famous people, and they all talk bull. Savan Rochon, Rochon. All right. I'm not going to talk about him. James Gillen, I will, because I met him, and we had a debate live. He goes, oh, you're coming from the bad side. I'm coming from the good side. There is no good side, people. Whether you want to believe that or not, look at reality. Look at relationships. Look at children. Look at what's happening, people. There is no good side to planet Earth. Aliens are not good. Oh, the good ones are coming. Oh, really? Oh, I work with the good ones. And what are they doing? All right. Lawrence Wendell. Now, this person, Lijenquis, Captain. Check out him. Gary Nolan, another story lion teller. All right. Neil Diamond Walsh. Now, that's a spiritual person claiming he talks to God. I wrote him so many times. He goes, oh, I'll send you my other book. I'll send you. I said, I don't want to read your stupid books. You're not talking to God. You're only talking to your ego. You're only telling what you think you know. Every Christian knows exactly what he knows, but it has nothing to do with God. All right? Now, then let's go further. Deepak Chopra, Eckhart Tolle, the Dalai Lama, Oprah Winfrey are considered the most spiritual people on the planet. And they know nothing about God. They know nothing about reincarnation. Know nothing about the higher realms of God. All right, now, the Dalai Lama is a little different because he talks about realms and things like that, but he doesn't believe in God. So then we got Lou Elizondo. You all know him because he's one of the top speakers in the UFO world now, who I was just talking about. Laura Eisenhower, the granddaughter of Eisenhower. All right, I had her on my show. I wanted to debate her, but she agreed with every single word I said. We had 120,000 followers the show that we did. But she was afraid to say a word, so she agreed with everything I said. Oh, I want to have you on my show. That never happened, because I followed a few of her things after that. She's in another world in her mind. She went to Mars with the president and all these things. Her mother was a majestic what? All right? Stephen Lear, Bob Lazar. All right, you know those names. But then the name who thinks she's super famous and everything else, Linda Moulton Howe. She was on Coast to Coast, Art Bell show, for 40 years, talking about cattle mutilation. Today, she knows just as much as she did the day she started of what really happens. I can tell you exactly what happens every which way. I saw it. I had it happen on the farm I was living on 3 times. My friend, a UFO person, he had it happen on his farm and had pictures of everything and all that. But she doesn't. Why? And then she's taking a lot of people's information and bragging about it and everything else. All right, let's skip her. Mr. Bigelow, who owned the Skinwalker Ranch, came out to my friend John Edmonds' ranch, called the Stardust Ranch. He was going to buy it. And then suddenly he sold the Skinwalker Ranch. He sold it. All right. But what does he know? A lot, but he won't talk about it. Why did he sell it? What was going on? And people say he should tell everything he knows. He can't. Bashago, Andrew Bashago claims he went to Mars with the president, claimed he was going to be president next election. He went blind for a couple years and things and all this other stuff. Van Daniken wrote a great book. Sounds great. Grant Cameron, I'm open to debate him on everything he says. J.J. Hynek, another person really famous out there. Michio Kaku, however you say his name, he's one of the top scientists and he knows nothing about a real God, nothing about death, nothing about anything important. He knows about physical reality, which is useless. It's only in the first dimension. There's multiple dimensions here, people. I don't want you to get that mixed up. All right? But here's the thing. Mr. Art Bell was a great person. He was incredible. We were going to try to get on his show right before they went after his son and took him off the air. He couldn't even get back to us. Barbara Marciniak, I don't know if she's alive right now. She probably is. But she wrote a book, Bringers of the Dawn. I think everybody should read it. It's one of her really important books written a long time ago. What happens when soul dies, when the body dies and soul goes through the astral plane. She's right about that. But then she wrote a book about love, 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 love. I mean, people do that. Even the medicine man that I went on a vision quest with and all kinds of things happened. But his second book was Love, Love, Love. The goddess love, 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 love. But we're not there. Amnek Alnek is one of the 7 aliens that came to planet Earth. Valenthor was the other one that went to the White House. Believe what you want about it. Amnek claims she came here at 6 years old and took on a body. Has no abilities, though. Dr. Reed, you must know him because he said he killed the alien, which he probably did. But 2 years later, he became a super spiritual person in his mind. But he actually ran from the government for months and months. He was on Fred Art Bell's show. Oh, I'm here now. I'm running from the government because they came in and took the alien and everything, all that stuff. Great story. Now, Travis Tyler, however, on Skinwalker Ranch, I've been trying to get in touch with him. Still waiting for a reply. Uri Geller, I became friends with him because I was in magic for 25 years. He was a psychic. Then we had a magician write a book against him saying he's a fake. But Uri Geller was friends with John Lennon. He was the only person given something from an alien race that I know of. And John Lennon gave it to Uri Geller the week before he died. He was killed. I'm not going to go into that because that's a whole nother story. All right. James Van Prague, a psychic. Well, you want to believe in psychics? Well, tell me why. Well, they told me this. Well, tell you something that's important. Alfred Lemembart Weber makes lots of money. What's he say and who he says he is? Whitney Schreiber. Another book writer. These people write great books. I don't know how much I want to talk about Billy Myers, but he faked so many things. He destroyed his reputation. He put a picture of a girl from the Mickey Mouse Club and said that was an alien that he was working with. And he created a little spaceship, which is exactly like what the spaceships he was filming. Shirley MacLaine went out there. A friend of mine who was also killed after doing a show, brought him back to the United States, to California, for a couple weeks. He didn't like it there. They tried doing all kinds of things to keep him there. It didn't work. Daryl Sims, the alien hunter. Really? He goes around with a big wax hand, claiming it's a healing hand. These people claim a lot of things. James Gillen, the SETI Ranch, I met with him. Claims everything's good. All aliens are good. They're helping us and doing this. Claimed a lot of things. He said he had this giant alien come out of the mountain, 49 feet high. I said, do you ever realize it was just a hologram? Because it disappeared right before it got to where they were. All right, but he takes everything people film there as his own. They have to sign a waiver and all that kind of stuff. Keone, Bigfoot person, I was friends with him for a couple of years until I brought him on my show and debated him. So I let my wife on first. I let her the first day on a Friday night talk about Bigfoot and everything else. Then I brought him on, let him talk for an hour about it. The last half hour, I said, look, I'm going to debate you. And I said, what's your proof? He goes, I got 200 people that saw a Bigfoot. I said, so? Where's your proof? Well, they're all witnesses. I said, I work with over 1,000 women that have been abducted, lost their children, and I still have zero proof that I would bring out to the world right now. And people don't want to believe that either. All right. Jay-Z Knight. I don't know if you know who she was. She was a psychic channeling a being. Made people buy her $1 million horses, sell their homes and everything. She was a fake for a while. She was always a fake, but that's besides the point. She came back in, and people follow her again. She has retreats all over the world. People, you follow the blind. You follow the deaf. You follow everybody that can speak and tell you no lies. They can't tell you the truth. We got Bashar. When I went to face him, he ran off the stage, going on about this, that, and the other thing. I said, okay, now let me ask you a question. And he ran off the stage. Well, then we have Bracco. He stands there and just stares at people. Became super famous now. You know, people get healed. Oh, I got healed. You can believe you get healed from anything. You can stand in front of this, that. When I was doing ghost busting, when I was a high priest, I brought people to the cemetery. And they had these little mausoleums and all kinds of stuff. Well, I was into hypnosis at the same time. So I had about 20 people. I said, look at that statue right there. It comes alive when we stand here. Within 10 minutes, they all went running. They all saw the statue coming after them. And when I learned hypnosis from a magician, all right, at 12, he said hypnosis is called the power of suggestion. It's suggesting to your subconscious mind, and then it accepts it. Which is, he explained how Hitler controlled his country. How what he does is just the power of suggestion. I was hypnotized by him twice when I was 12 and 13, but I was doing hypnosis when I was 14. And I got good at it. I had the whole neighborhood hypnotized with different words. I could put all my friends out and have them do whatever I wanted to do and all that. But they all were afraid later on, and I took it off of all of them. I was going to go into stage hypnosis when I decided, no, I don't want to do that. And I realized how bad it was. I'm sorry about what's happened. The show that I did this afternoon, I went into a lot more, but I did the best I can tonight. I wish I could bring the top speakers on, but they're all dead. I'm talking about UFO people. 16 of my best good friends, some of my best friends, are gone, missing, or dead. All right? One more for NASA. I'm not the story real short and sweet. He said, we're going to have a pool party. Come, and we'll talk about creating a private little community. His whole family was taken out. He said, I'm not allowed to see UFOs because I brought him over to show him UFOs. 2 days later, his family was missing. All right? But that's just one of them. I mean, the real cool speakers and things like that. Now, people, you want the truth, pull up Alien Interrogation. It's real. Watch and listen to and read Bill Snyder's story. It's the second most important UFO story out there, people. Not every the bull stories that these people are telling. Oh, this ship, this plane, blah, blah, blah. So what? So you saw something. I go out any night, any morning. If the stars are out, I can see UFOs. I got one light ship that's blinking at me all the time and all kinds of stuff. But so what? I tell them, you can do anything important, do it. I'm not going to be here that much longer. If you want to prove or say something, go ahead and say it. I mean, I had them blink Morse code back at me and things and stuff, but so what? UFOs are out there everywhere, but they are doing something, people. They don't come to the universe to be here. Sure, there's an alien race inside the planet, alien races on the moon, alien races on Mars, but none of them are going to help us become more aware or spiritual. All right. Uh, Now the people like Bud Hopkins wrote all these stories about abductions. I mean, his last book, big important book, was how Congress was going across the Verrazano Bridge and they were all frozen there while they watched this alien ship come over and pull a woman out of the window and levitate it up into the ship. I spoke to policemen, talked to them that actually saw it and were involved with that. It was a real event, but he couldn't say any of the people in Congress because they wouldn't allow him to. Uh, Bill Savage charges $50,000 to meet with him for a day. Teaches you'll become the red glowing body and all that stuff. Ramtha made people buy her $1,000,000 horses. Star Ferentez, a healer, charges $10,000 to do a session for you. They'll tell great stories. People, you want to believe these speakers? Top dead speakers that were important? Bob Dean, Al Bielek, Bill Schneider, good friend Ed Grimsley, another friend, Jose Escamillo. My ex-friend, Sergeant 18, I don't know what, I thought he sold out. He came out and put a video out last week saying he's a spiritual being now. Uh, you know, ego is really cool for people that believe in it. It helps them get through life. That's all it does. It won't help them through the next life, but it'll help them through this life. All right, people. All these people at these conferences, you don't learn anything important. It's not about UFOs over you. So what? It's not about what the government's doing with them and what they did. It's too late. They can't take back selling out the human race. So, what are you going to do? Anything you heard that helped you or not? That I'm sorry if it didn't. I can only give you the truth. Whatever you get out of it is still up to you. All right? You want to go further? Need answers, questions to answers, answers to questions. You got questions to ask me? Go right ahead. You got an answer? Please tell me what you think is true or what's real to you. What's important? What's important to this planet? All right. My life started when I was young. I couldn't stop it, and it never changed. So I'm going to keep sending this email as written online for a week or two. See if any one person has the balls to come out and talk, which they won't. I'd be amazed if they do. I'd be happy, but I'm sure nobody wants to lose making money. These people are getting paid. Conferences, you know what the top speaker gets paid? Do you have an idea? $15,000 to $20,000 for speaking for 2 hours. Oh, but they have to have dinner with everybody Friday night. People, are you really in a place for that? If you are, I'm sorry. But if you want a PDF file on how to see UFO, send an email to Hawksblood. Well, send it to howtoseegod@AOL.com. I'll send you a free PDF file. It's 2 years old already, but it'll give you the information to go out to see a UFO if you really want to see one. Hawksblood1, please. My email is hawksblood1@AOL.com. I'm Tommy Hawksblood on every site. I don't change my name, don't hide from who I am. But the truth's out there. It doesn't matter if you want to hear it or not, or you like the lies. The truth usually hurts, and that's a fact. All right? But sadly, if it feels good, it's not good. The old saying, if it's too good to be true, it's not true. Peace, love, compassion, whatever you need in your life, don't stop until you find it. The world's changing, and it's going to change rapidly in the next 5-6 years. It's not going to be anything good. But if you're okay inside, meaning soul-wise, it doesn't matter. But if you're not on a spiritual quest, you're not on any quest. You're living in the dwelling of karma, hate, sin, drugs. You're in the Matrix. Watch the Matrix 2 or 3 times in a row, and you might understand where you are. All right, people. Peace. Please, if you have any balls yourself, send my email to everybody you know. Not my email, the link to this show. And if they have a question, you can send them my email address as well. But people don't want the truth. I can go on and on, but I tried to get as much as I could in this one. But Tuesday, I do the show with Tina Bird. Please tune into that show. I'll try to do a spiritual show before the end of the week, next week, and give you some really important things to think about and work with. And it's not aliens. All right. Till next time, Tommy Hawksblood here, the Big Island of Hawaii. Our weather, we set the coldest day today for August, for this month in history for Hawaii, and it doesn't seem like it's going to get better anytime soon. All right, it could get worse, just like what's happening in the United States right now. But that's up to you, people. What you want to do with your life, what you want to believe in life, how you want to leave this planet when you die. It's up to you. It's not up to the government. It's not up to anybody else. Your teacher, preacher, minister, rabbi, whatever you want to call them, it's not up to them. And obviously, they're not going to be able to help you. When you're dying in bed, then you look into yourself and say, what happens now? That's going to be the only answer you want answered. And if you have no clue, sorry. There's ways to get to that point. At least know that. And you should before you die. Because it doesn't change after. You don't become an angel. You don't become a super being or anything like that. You'll stay on the astral plane for 5 to 10 years. You'll reincarnate back into a body here. It could be male or female. And start all over. Well, I used to do a song, Starting All Over. But you can't play music that's copyrighted on the internet, on Facebook, and things like that at all. I tried to get in touch with it, tried to get the permit to use it. But I never did. Peace, people. Till next time. You heard it here.
Raise my eyes to the wild blue yonder. I can't believe what I see, and it makes me wonder why it's falling down on me. The sky's falling. The sky